I'm Jeanette Keynes from Jewelry Arts Inc. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to bezel set a beautiful lens-shaped stone. And I'm also going to give you some tips for how you can get the maximum sparkle out of your bezel set stones. So, ta-da! We're ready to set. We have this beautiful lens cut stone. So it's basically rounded on both sides. But for all intents and purposes, we set it like it's a faceted stone. You know, like there's our girdle. The rounded part is going to hang underneath, never to be seen again. And that's why it's so important that the inner bezel is like the right height. Because if the inner bezel is too low, the tummy, you know what I mean, will end up hitting the bottom. And then instead of it holding, it'll like kind of rock back and forth. Because it makes like a little seesaw in there, you know what I mean? Now also with a regular faceted stone where that's a point, if that makes contact, it can break. So it's really key that the inner bezel, it's like everything is about this inner bezel. And on the first try, she's got this exactly right. So it's very impressive, by the way. So we measured 2/3 the height of the outside bezel, cut it nice and straight. It's soldered closed, it's sanded nice and level. Because I mean, that's the first thing I did when I came over to check if we're ready to set. I'm like, whoop, pull it out, look at the inner bezel, make sure it's level. Because that's like 85% of everything. If your inner bezel isn't level, you know what I'm saying, you're gonna go crazy. So it's nice and level. It's 2/3 the height. So we'll put it in. We've got some nice shiny mylar on the bottom to reflect the light back out and make it look delicious. Okay. Use our high-tech equipment, which are wood dowels, to press it in. And then we're going to check it from the side. And basically, we're looking for the girdle. We don't want to see the girdle, but that's what we're looking for. Because we want this outside bezel to just be above the girdle. Like, not a lot, you know what I mean? Just a tiny little bit. That is the optimal height for when you're setting. Okay, so I'm going to take this. I'm going to look from the side, press it in with the dowel. See that from the side? Fabulous. Nailed it. First try, you gotta love it. And you see though how it bounces up and down a little bit, the inner bezel. I mean, that's fine because when we actually set it, it's gonna get squeezed in and it's not gonna move anymore. But that's why I'm always having this. You can't just put it in with your fingers and look at it and think that that kind of means anything. You know what I mean? You have to take it and really press it in because that's how it's gonna be when you actually set. Okay, so 2 thumbs up. It's all ready to go. I'm gonna loan you a bezel roller and we'll start setting. Yeah. So what we're just discussing is it looks really good, but over here in the, say, 2 to 3 o'clock region, it looks like it's tilted up. I'll let you get in there and take a look at that. It just looks like just a little bit. And before we go any further, we're just gonna push it down in with a big dowel and then work that spot to make sure it stays level. And like we were saying before, that's the hardest thing about setting a faceted stone is that little stinker loves to wiggle around in there. You know, he's just like floating in the air. You press on one side, you know, and it goes whoop, whoop, whoop. So you just have to really pay attention as you're doing it, like press a little and then look at eye level and make sure that it doesn't, you know, go anywhere cuckoo. So let's just, I'm gonna use the best piece of equipment I know for leveling stones, which is a wood stick. I'm gonna press right here. Okay, now take a look. You see how you can see a little gap there now? And what that means is the stone head actually started to just pop up a little bit. I mean, this is gonna happen when you're setting a faceted stone. Totally to be expected, normal, but you just have to know to look for it and shove it back in place. So what I would say is now that we've shoved it back in place, work in this area, the 2 to 3 o'clock area, to press the bezel back down in. We'll check from the side, but you're like 80% done, okay? Over. So you see, looking all beautiful. I don't think we have any wiggle either. Oh, no wiggle. Very low tech, but that is one of the more effective ways of testing it. You just see if you can feel anything. If you can't feel anything, that's an extremely good sign. So the last step that we're gonna do, this is I mean, it's really pretty much done, but we're gonna take the tool, we're gonna hold it up at a higher angle, and we're gonna really lightly just tap a little bit just to give it that last. So hold the tool in your left hand, and I have the end of the tool resting like in the middle of my pinky, like so. Because then what I do is I rest my pinky on whatever my working surface is, in this case a piece of wood. You see, just like that. Because then all I do is move my hand a little bit. It's just, you see what I mean? Like nothing happens by itself. It's all at once. Okay, like so. And I am not tapping very hard at all. This is just gonna close that tiny little gap between the stone and the bezel. Because if you hit too hard, you're gonna start to spread things out, which is not what we wanna do. So you see what I mean? Put right there, a little tap. So I would say go all the way around and then you're done. Because if you look at this, I mean, this is, it's good. It looks great. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, we're really just concentrating on maybe giving like a tiny bit, but we're pretty OCD. So, you know, this looks great. Okay? So just finish going around and then we'll show you how to polish. I mean, that's it. Because look at the sparkle also you get. Putting that shiny background is so key. Because people always think with stones like, oh, I want to leave the back open and let the light through. Guess what? The light goes through and it keeps on going. You know what I mean? Because it's not a diamond. Diamond will refract the light back at you. Anything else but a diamond and a few other stones won't do that. So leaving the back open will make it lighter, but it won't make it sparkle. Having something reflective in there, the light goes through, it bounces off and comes back at your eyeballs. And that's what makes this like sparkle. Okay?